Donny sat by the cafe window, stirring his cold coffee long after the ice had melted. Outside, the city was alive, couples laughing, people rushing everywhere, lives moving forward. Inside, he sat motionless, watching his reflection ripple on the glass. He looked across the table at Emily. Her eyes were buried in her phone, her fingers dancing across the screen. "You are quiet again," she said, without looking up. Donny forced a smile. "Just tired, long day." But that was a lie. He wasn't tired from work. He was tired from never saying what he truly wanted. And he thought to himself, why do I keep swallowing my truth just to keep the peace? For as long as he could remember, Donny had been the man who avoided conflict. Always. He was the nice guy, the one who listened, the one who adjusted, the one who compromised, even when it hurt him. In school, he would stay silent when someone cut in line. At work, he would say yes to every request, even when it meant staying late. In relationships, he would accept the crumbs of attention and call it love. He told himself it was kindness, but deep down, it was fear. Deep, rotten fear. He always thought to himself, if I ask for more, they will leave. If I show what I really need, they will think I'm too much. And he built his life around avoiding rejection. And in the process, he ended up rejecting himself. It was a Thursday evening. Rain poured outside, tapping against the window like a heartbeat. Emily stood in the way of the doorway, her suitcase half zipped. "You'd never tell me what you want, Donny. You just agree with everything and then shut down later." He stood there, frozen. He wanted to say, "I just wanted you to see me." But instead, he whispered, "I am sorry." She shook her head. "You are always sorry, Donny, but never honest. You keep saying sorry, but it doesn't mean anything." The door shut behind her. The silence that followed was deafening. He sat on the couch, staring at the empty coffee mug she left on the table. His chest felt hollow. Maybe I don't deserve her. Maybe I'm just meant to settle down with whatever I have, he thought to himself. Years earlier, Donny was 9. In the kitchen holding a broken toy plane. His father was at the table reading the newspaper. "Dad, can you help me fix this?" he asked softly. His father didn't look up. "I'm busy now, don't you see?" Donny nodded and walked away quietly. That was the first time he learned it was safer not to ask. That one moment planted a seed in him that grew into decades of silence. Every time he wanted something, affection, appreciation, respect, love, the little boy whispered in his ears, "Donny, don't ask. You will just be disappointed." The next morning, Donny sat at his kitchen table, the same seat Emily used to occupy. He scrolled through his messages, old texts, empty promises. All the time he said, "It's fine," when it wasn't. He finally whispered aloud, "I have spent my whole life asking for less, just so I wouldn't lose people." He leaned back in his chair, eyes moist, and voice breaking. "But they left me anyways. What did I do wrong, God? Where did I go wrong?" And this opened something within him. He realized something, and beneath the sadness there was anger. Not at her, not at all at her, but at himself, at his own lack of confidence. He was angry at himself. I have been negotiating my worth with the world instead of owning myself. Days turned into weeks, and Donny started going for walks in the park near his apartment. He stopped wearing his earbuds. He wanted to hear his own thoughts again. He watched people, confident men jogging, couples laughing, strangers living unapologetically. And he thought, what would my life look like if I stopped being scared, if I stopped being apologetic, if I am not scared to ask for what I want in my life. And so he began. He began small. He told his managers he couldn't stay late anymore. He told his friends to stop canceling plans last minute. He told the waiter once, "Actually, I asked for this dish without onions, but you made a mistake. Please change my dish." And with every honest word, he felt lighter and stronger. It wasn't about being rude, it was about being real. It was about being kind and assertive at the same time. For the first time, he wasn't living to be liked, he was living to be respected. One evening, Donny stood in front of the bathroom mirror, toothbrush in hand. He looked at his reflection, tired eyes, stubble, quiet strength. He said softly, "You don't have to earn love by being small. You deserve people who meet you halfway." And in that reflection, he saw something new. Not arrogance, not pride, but dignity. He smiled. It wasn't a victory grin, it was a recognition of a man finally coming home to himself, finally living who he really was. Weeks later, Emily texted him, "Can we talk?" They met at the same cafe, same table, same window view. She looked at him, curious. "Donny, you seem different." Donny smiled. She leaned forward. "I have been thinking a lot. Maybe we should try it again." Donny, "Try what?" "Our relationship." Donny smiled. But old Donny would have said yes immediately. But this time, he looked down at his coffee and then back at her. "Emily, I cared about you. But I cared about keeping you more than keeping myself. And I can't go back to that version of me." She stared at him speechless. "So, that's it?" He nodded slowly. "That's me finally saying that I should have said a long time ago." He placed some cash on the table, stood up, and left, not in anger, but peace, inner peace. And he thought to himself, "You did it, Donny. You finally did it. You finally stopped settling for what you truly deserve." That night, Donny walked home under the quiet sky. No rain, no noise, just stillness. For the first time in years, he didn't feel lonely. Instead, he felt whole. He realized that every time he avoided asking for what he wanted, he wasn't protecting others' feelings, he was betraying his own feelings. And now that he had chosen truth over comfort, life felt lighter, simpler, and real and authentic. Maybe asking for what you want isn't selfish, he thought. Maybe it's the first step to being free. Every man reaches a point where silence costs him more than rejection, where settling feels worse than being alone, and where saying no becomes the most powerful yes to yourself. Donnie's story isn't about a breakup, it's about a man who finally learned that his needs aren't negotiable. He stopped apologizing for his truth, he stopped shrinking to be accepted, and he learned the hardest lesson of all, that if you keep settling for less, you will teach the world that you think you deserve less. So, next time you feel afraid to ask for what you want, remember Donnie's story. Remember that peace doesn't come from pleasing others, it comes from finally choosing yourself. And remember, you stop suffering. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. So, friends, if you have reached till here, do like, share, and subscribe, and do comment in the comment box stating your story that you relate while you were listening to this story. Was there events in your life that were similar to Donnie's events? And what did you do in those scenarios, and how did you cope up? Do let me know in the comments. And if your story is inspirational and I feel that your story will inspire others, then do let me know. I will definitely take up your story and share it in my YouTube channel. That's it from my end. This is Samrat, confidence and relationship strategist, signing off. Adios, sayonara, goodbye.